Easy people, welcome back to the channel at We Are the South Stand MCFC. Sorry we are late. Some of us got sent the wrong link. We were sat in different rooms. It was like Squid Games behind here. We didn't know what we were doing, who was doing what. It was mental. But we got there in the end and we're now live. Welcome to everybody. Nobbins, Tone, Martin, Daps. Everyone okay?
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Well, listen, what can we say about it? Real Madrid at home, the season we've been going through, we did say, we was a bit of mixed bag feeling, whether we were a bit, scared or a little bit, optimistic or whatever. But, the game happened. It went exactly how most games have gone this season, innit? They built us up to the end and then we got a kick in the teeth. But I usually like to start with Nobbins, start with a lineup, start with the tactical decisions of Pep Guardiola. What we did see, we've seen a Kanji Nobbins at right back. We've seen a John Stones going into midfield. I mean, before the game, when the team was announced, I don't think the atmosphere in the South Stand where I was that worried. They were thinking, hold on a minute, Ake's in, Diaz is in. We don't look half bad here. No Foden's on the bench, etc. But what was your first thoughts when you seen the team, Nobbins, and John Stones maybe playing in midfield?
I was very confused, to be honest. I don't think anyone would have predicted that starting 11. I didn't think Ake was going to start because he's only just come back from injury. Stones and Bernardo was like an out of possession midfield. Again, I was a little bit confused by, Grealish starting, Foden not starting. It was all very odd. But on paper, anyway, that's probably our best back four, or you have Stones in there instead of Ake. But either way, it's certainly one of the variations of our best back four. And I thought we were going to set up a certain way. It didn't happen in the slightest. So I was very wrong as soon as the first ball was kicked. I was like, okay, so we're not doing that at all. But it worked, to be honest with you, especially in the first half. Like, from a tactical perspective, like what Pep did, it looked really weird on paper, but it did work. So it's something that we have done before. It's not too often, but basically, the fullbacks were going into midfield when they had the ball. So it was Gvardiol and Akanji were joining Stones in the midfield. So we had a 2-3 sort of shape. And the reason why it worked was because Real Madrid only committed 4 players. I think it was Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Bellingham. So 5's obviously a bigger number than 4. So we outnumbered them and we were able to actually get out of their press relatively easily. And the amount of times that Stones was having so much space and time on the ball because of that numerical superiority. And Stones had a fantastic game, especially in that first half. And again, it works. Like, we got a bit fortunate at times. Real Madrid maybe could have scored before we scored. Our defense is still not getting proper protection, but we went a goal up, and I thought we were playing quite well throughout that first half. And I'm sure we'll get into it. But injuries combined with substitutions, combined with individual errors, is ultimately what cost us the game. And it's such a shame because I feel like Pep's got a lot of blame for yesterday, but certainly in terms of how he set the side up initially, I was very happy with it, to be honest with you. I don't think Real Madrid were expecting it. I certainly wasn't. And it goes to show how John Stones is even better than I thought he was as a footballer. But yeah, a series of unfortunate events led to our downfall, and not for the first time. That's sort of my overarching thoughts of how we set up.
No, that's good. And like you say, Tone, similar question to you. When you seen the lineup, how did you feel? And we did ride our luck a little bit in the first half, but when you're going up against a team like Real Madrid with that strike force, it's worrying every time they get the ball. You know what I mean? They're so dangerous, so fast, the movement and stuff. And like what Nobbin said, I feel like we set up well, and I feel like the lads in the first half did us proud. I think we rid our luck a little bit, but we always are going to do against Real Madrid. But we did all right, didn't we?
We did okay first half. Yeah, I completely agree with Nobbins. I was shocked when I saw the lineup. In fact, it was tweeted out and then deleted by City Extra, I think, straight after, because I saw it and went, no way. There's no way.
Mm.
And then it was deleted, and I thought, oh, thank God for that. That's not the lineup. And then I saw it again. I was like, oh my God, no, that actually is the team. So I was shocked, and big question marks. Who am I to question Pep? I think he got it as right as could be for that first half. We did ride our luck. Real Madrid had, a lot of chances. There was one around Ederson, I think, that was it Rodrigo possibly, or Vinicius took it too far wide, and there was a couple of those moments in the first half. So we were fortunate to lead, but we're playing Real Madrid. We're not playing whoever in the Champ League, one of the lower teams. We're playing arguably the best team on the planet. So you would expect them to have chances, especially at the moment with City's, we'll call it defending, but I thought Akanji did well until he went off. The guy's been playing injured since November, I think. So that was a real shame he went off. And, Rico's not Akanji and didn't play as well when he come on as Akanji did, in my opinion. Diaz and Ake were fine. But I thought we played better first half than I thought. I thought Grealish started really well. And I thought he actually played all right in the cup game. I saw some criticism for him against Leyton Orient. And I thought he played, considering everyone was pretty poor that day, I thought Grealish was maybe one of the bright players in that game. And I thought he started well yesterday. City looked better with him on, although it was for a very limited time. And it was a real shame he went off. And obviously Foden comes on, so it's not a bad change, right? But we still lost that little bit of composure there with Jack, which he showed at the start of the game. So I think with a mix of just bad luck again with injuries in the first half, I'm talking about. Yeah, I think we were fortunate to be one up as well. So I think it sort of mixes a bit of lucky and a bit unlucky on some elements.
Martin, the goal, good goal. Grealish dinks the ball over the top. Joško Vardiol's involved. Haaland finishes. We had a ridiculous amount of time in the stadium to wait to see if that was onside or not.
What was that even for? I don't even.
I think his hand was just out the way. I think I don't know, but it is what it is, man. One thing I've got to say is that referee. He looks a bit like Trossard. He's the best referee in the world for me. He's from Norway. If we get him in Real Madrid games, it's going to be all right. You go to the Bernabeu, we need the Polish referee, the bald guy from the Champions League final. He don't take no shit off Real Madrid. But anyone else just shits herself. But yesterday, I thought the ref did well. He kept the game flowing. He was strict with both teams. He wasn't having any messing. And it was a good game of football, Martin. It was. But that first half performance, what did you think? And what was your feelings when the team got announced? Was there anything that made you shocked or a bit worried? Was you worried about Akanji against Vinicius?
No, I'm a little bit with Akanji. The 11 surprised me. I'm not gonna lie, wasn't expecting Grealish, but it did surprise me. I didn't have the meltdown that a few were having on the way to the ground. I was listening to it, listening to some people going in. They were thinking, 7-8-0. But I've got to say, first half, like the lads said, I thought we conducted ourselves really well. John Stones had the freedom of the Etihad in that first half. We were spraying the ball around lovely. I mean, we'll talk about John Stones when he moves to centre-back later on, I'm guessing, because it was like his evil twin brother went into centre-back, so he couldn't suddenly pass the ball 5 yards when he went to centre-back. But I was really all right with it. Listen, you're gonna have chances against you. This is Real Madrid. Even when they're out of form, you look at that front three, they're going to create chances. Even half chances, you're going to create them. So I'm not bothered about them creating chances. But I thought what I was more impressed about was how we handled ourselves. I think Grealish was unlucky with looks like a groin injury, sadly. Akanji, I thought was doing okay. And then he gets injured, story of the season. I was sort of, there was a rumour at half time going around that Rico was coming in. And Tone texted me, Joe, and said, because I don't know, Rico was warming up just before half-time whistle, and I thought, oh. Now, what I say about Rico, by the way, I don't want anyone, which we'll go into. I love Rico. Thought it was the wrong sub. Thought it was the wrong sub straight away.
Yeah.
I do think I do want to say, I want to big up Phil Foden, by the way.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of stick. That guy came on and absolutely, I thought that was the best he's played all season, that yesterday, Phil Foden. Really positive, really sort of putting his stamp on the game. But yeah.
So if you made the wrong sub with Rico, what you thinking there, Martin, that you bring Cousinov on?
Yeah. I would have gone with this. I know he's young, but you spent 30, 35 mil. It wasn't a game for Rico. And I'm not trying to dig him out because I think the guy has got a future. But the best way I put it,
sorry, do you not think that Pep's thinking, if I bring this Cousinov on here and he has a Fernandinho moment, gets nutmeg, Vinicius roasts him, goal, he's dead. After the debut he had the first week, and he came up late in Orient and all that, but I'm just thinking, I sort of think Pep protected him there. And if he can't bring Rico Lewis on, then Rico Lewis isn't good enough. And I think in an elite game like that, yeah, he's not. I don't think
Rico did not leave that ground happy last night. He was devastated.
Do you know what? I think if we take Rico Lewis out of it for a second, right? As far as overall first half, yeah, I think we were all pretty happy with it. I know they did get in once or twice, but I think although they got in once or twice, I think defensively, once they were in the box, we defended well. We let them get down the sides, but I think we defended okay. We started the game with 4 centre-backs, right? Cousinov is a centre-back with pace. So that's where I'm thinking, right, if in the first half you've gone with the centre-back, right, that can play on the right, surely if you've been forced into a change, then to bring on another centre-back, but one with pace, would make better sense. I do hear what you're saying, Steve, though, that I don't know if maybe Pep is thinking about long-term and not thinking about, and I understand this because I'm going back and forth with Devious in the chat now. We're currently focusing already on Madrid next week, and we're not talking about Newcastle at the weekend. Our focus can't solely be on Madrid, right? No. And maybe Pep is thinking longer term, throwing Cousinov in the deep ends, not worth it. That could be it, maybe. But at the same time, I wanted to see him. I wanted to see him yesterday. So,
and no one's digging anyone out here, by the way. Seeing people in the chat digging out Lewis. We're having a conversation about it. We're 5 adults talking about it, and what we're saying is we've all got our opinions and stuff. But I did admit when I seen him come on, I just grimaced a little bit. It was a bit like when Fernandinho came on that time and played there. I thought, fucking hell, he's going to get some joy. The first couple of times he did beat him for pace. But then Rico did have a little bit of joy against him. He did make a couple of blocks and take the ball off him a few times. But, that was the style.
Sorry, I think the other thing, just quickly, the other thing, because I had this chat yesterday, and in the comments from yesterday's show, it's continued, that I was kind of saying, well, why is everyone going at Kovacic? Why is everyone going at Kovacic? And people said, well, you're going at Rico, but you're not going at Kovacic. Now, if I'm being honest, that's because, as I've said on shows before, I think over the last 18 months, Kovacic has been one of our better players, right? Now, I understand the bar's not that high, but he's been one of our better players. Rico Lewis, we have seen be weak all season, right? And yesterday, ultimately, the third goal was because Rico Lewis was weak. So that's why maybe we're calling it out, that it's a repeat thing with Rico Lewis, that his weakness in challenges. And that was what happened for the third goal. I do understand the little flick back from Kovacic. It was too light, right? It was poor. But at the same time, Rico Lewis still had the ball on the end of his foot, but decided to not swing at it, decided to, I don't know what he was trying to do, and had the ball taken off the end of his foot. So it was a mistake from Rico Lewis.
It was, but Pep's playing Rico. Someone's referred to this in the chat. Sorry, I can't remember who it was. But Pep is putting Rico on. Rico, we know what Rico's capable of. We know he's not had his best season, but Pep is the one who,
agreed.
Who brings Rico on. Sorry, go on.
yesterday, Rico going forward, was exactly. Look, he was good going forward, as he always is. In the final third, he was very, very good.
He made one of the best runs of the night, which Bernardo played him in. Lovely run past three players just down the right, and Bernardo played a lovely little pass into him. Unfortunately, it was blocked, but Rico can definitely do that run forward. He is probably better forward than maybe he is defensively, dare I say. But it's so difficult to criticise Rico, and I have done a little in this season, but you know, Pep chose to play him. I'm with Martin. I'd rather Kasanov come on than Rico. When I saw Rico warm up, I was like, oh God. But you know, Pep is the one who insists on him playing this right back spot when there were a few other little options that we could have done there. So I wouldn't blame Rico.
Is Nunes a better right back? Is Nunes a better right back than Rico?
Oh.
Not defensively, I don't
Not
think so.
Defensively, no.
If Trossard can spin Nunes, then I don't know what chance he has up against Vinicius, to be honest. Just on Rico.
Sorry, Steve, I think both of them have got a bozo gene in them, haven't they, where they can make a rash decision. We've seen Nunes jumping all over players' backs in the box. We've seen Rico, you know, get beat. I think what happens with Rico is when he gets the ball took off him, he's that frustrated. He steams back in trying to win it. And that's when I think he can do some madness. Go on, Nobbins. What was you going to say?
I was just going to say that just on Rico, I thought that, you know, fundamentally he's been put into an impossible position in that you know he's not a right back out and out, obviously, and he's been asked to try to deal 1v1 with one of, if not the best, left wingers on the planet, who has a ridiculous amount of weapons at his disposal, like in terms of his pace and his dribbling ability. I counted 6 encounters between Rico and Vinicius, and Rico won half of them. Now, that is not a bad performance by a young, not right back, playing at right back against Vinicius Jr. I think that's actually a pretty good showing, to be honest with you. Obviously, the last one is not good enough from Rico Lewis. But there were at least 4 players for me who made an error in that final goal. I don't know why Ruben Diaz is coming out of his defensive area to try to engage with Bellingham there. He's never going to win that ball. Yeah. All he's done there is make a gap. Kovacic, we've touched on, the ball is horrible. Just clear it. Why are we trying to dick around in the 93rd minute? Rico Lewis, yes, he should be braver. He should either take him out or get your head in the way of Vinicius' foot, win the foul. But fourthly, why is Ederson coming out? There's no need for him to come out. So for me, there are 4 players who are at fault in that third goal. And I noticed in my live chat that for whatever reason, Rico Lewis was getting the absolute brunt of it all. But we haven't even really touched on like the second goal, where we're 2-1 up, we're coasting. There's only like 6 minutes of the game left. Just chill. Don't do anything stupid. And the best ball-playing goalkeeper in the world, maybe even in the history of the universe, gives it to Real Madrid, and then Kovacic just watches as Diaz puts it in the back of the net. Yeah. So it's very concerning that these senior players are making these errors.
I'm trying to build the game up as we go. I apologise. No, not your fault. If I don't build it, what happens is you tell me your thing, and then he goes back that way, and then I'm all over the place. So what I'm trying to do is, first half, we got there in the end, right? We've got there in the end. I've got to address the elephant in the room because people want to talk about it. The banner.
Oh, don't.
Let me tell you about the banner. If you want to blame anyone about the black banner, blame me. Blame me for the banner. Because the 1894, they came to me and they said, we need a banner for Real Madrid. Something that's going to, get them going after the disrespect. So we decided on the banner, Rodri Ballon d'Or, stop crying your heart out. That wasn't a banner against Vinicius Jr. So stop reading fucking Sport Bible and TNT and all this shit, because it wasn't against Vinicius Jr. This was against Florentino Perez and the directors that stirred up a media storm in Madrid saying Rodri didn't deserve it. Rodri wasn't worthy of it. It's biased. It's racist. All this fucking nonsense, right? So we said, let's have a go at him, right? But all these people crying about the banner, yeah? Let me tell you this. When that fucking banner dropped, yeah, that South Stand erupted, yeah? Everyone was behind it, going for it. And for 85 minutes, yeah, That banner was the best thing since sliced bread. It was on every single sports network channel all around the world, and it was going global. Yeah. Manchester City fans, fair play. They're not messing about. They're giving it Real Madrid, the mighty Real Madrid. The second we shoot ourselves in the foot, all the mad asses around the world, yeah, the mad asses in the City fan base that are doing fuck all, by the way, not coming to the ground, not fucking putting banners up in the spare time, not donating to the 1894. All the ones that are doing fuck all started to moan, oh, the banners really made them mad. Vinicius has got angry over the banner. Well, let me tell you this. The banner didn't bring Rico Lewis on. The banner didn't pass the ball to fucking Ederson, yeah? So anyone saying the banner upset him, it didn't. But let me tell you this. 50-50 with a banner. You either end up looking absolutely brilliant or egg on your face. But we thought it was a risk worth taking. We were up against Real Madrid at home, and we decided we were going to do something. So all them people in the 1894 that give up work and went and got it all done, fair play to them. Because I'd rather stand in that south stand with the 1894 and a banner trying to do something for the football club than go and watch some dickhead shaving someone's hair in the east stand and a load of Real Madrids in the family stand filming everyone with Real Madrid shirts on. So if you don't like the banner, so what? If you want to blame anyone for the banner, blame me. By the end of the day,
you were the reason Vinny played well.
Exactly.
Vinny didn't play well, by the way.
No, he didn't. Agreed.
Yeah, he deserved man of the match. They give it him for the little banner rivalry thing.
Yeah.
But the 1894 and all the guys and the girls that get involved in that and all the people that donated, we decided to try something. You're moaning when there's no atmosphere. You're moaning when they're bringing in megaphones. You're moaning when they don't do anything like Crystal Palace and do all this. So there's no point moaning. If you want to get involved and you think you can do better, go and do it. But at the end of the day, the banner, yeah, was fucking brilliant. It rattled the whole of Spain, yeah. It went on Fabrizio Romano, Liam Gallagher, Jamie Carragher. Now, Jamie Carragher talking about it, that's a bit ironic. But at the end of the day, it backfired on us because we lost the game. But so what? We tried. So that's all I'm going to say on the banner. Second half of the game, yeah, we're winning 1-0. We come out. Nobbins, they get the equaliser. Talk me through it. What happened? It was a shinner on it. It was meant to be a great acrobatic kick, and it just hit the shin. And how it went in, I don't know how it went in.
Oh yeah, well that was destined for Rosette. I think that's fair to say. And again, it's a shame because the history will show that Mbappe scored a goal and therefore Mbappe played very well. But in the same way that history will tell us that, Vinicius got an assist, I don't think Mbappe was particularly impressive in the match, to be honest, especially because beforehand the whole build-up was, oh, Haaland or Mbappe, it's fine. They haven't played each other in years. They're the next Messi, Ronaldo or whatever. Who's going to play better than who? And Haaland clearly outclassed him on the night. It's an unfortunate finish because it's not intentional. Question marks on the marking. To be honest, I actually need to go back and look at that goal. That's the goal I've looked at the least. I don't know if it's like one of Gvardiol or Ake who probably should be picking him up. It's just unfortunate because Bernardo doesn't need to make that tackle, which leads to the foul, which leads to the ultimate ball to Mbappe. It's a good ball by whoever it was. I think was it Ceballos maybe. It was. It's a shame. We probably did deserve to concede a goal up until that point, based on what happened in the first half. But it's just unfortunate that it happened in those circumstances, especially given what happened last season with their first goal as well, when it was just this fluke deflection from a Camavinga effort that massively rebounds off Diaz, I think it was. So yeah, massive shame. But I think for me the second and third goal were more egregious in terms of errors. But yeah, just unfortunate. To be honest, probably what Real Madrid deserved.
We had a little, they did deserve it. We had a little spell there where we looked a bit leggy for me. Like from where I was in the south stand, I looked across the pitch and I thought they're getting a grip of the game here. They're going to turn it up. And then Phil Foden, who I think Tone said before, and Martin, they came on. They started to play, and that run that he did, you can't touch him. He was basically razor sharp. And as soon as he put his leg out, he was gone over it. And like you say, you're getting a penalty then, and you're thinking, right, we've got a chance here. The game's fizzling out. We wasn't looking like scoring. Erling's going to step up here. we've got a chance of taking something to the Bernabeu. He steps up, he scores the goal. Fantastic from Erling, you know what I mean? I thought he had a good game yesterday, even when he dropped a little bit deep and his little touches, I thought he was all right. And then you're thinking, right, Southam it was mental in there. It was mental in there. And I'm thinking, we've got something. Next week, Madrid, we're getting off that plane. We've got something to defend. And then Ederson, I seen him with the ball. He told everybody to go because he was going to kick it long. Now I'm expecting a big long boom, and then he tries to do that slice thing, and then taught me through it. Tom, what did you think when he's kicked it to him there?
I'm a massive, as Martin will no doubt grin at any second, and he had a go at me for this last night, Martin, as well. But I'm an Ederson defender. I think he is as key to Manchester City as any outfield player. Yeah, see, I'm off again. I love Ederson, but I just, as soon as he did it, I just looked in despair. I just couldn't believe how, and you knew what was going to come after it. You knew as soon as they made it 2-2, you knew we were going to bloody well fold. And yeah, he's so reliable. He's so bloody good with his feet. That crucial moment, one lever upfield, and hopefully we'd hang on, win 2-1, huge win. And instead, the world's best, as Nobbins has touched on there, you know, one of the best players we've ever seen, or keepers with their feet, just completely ballses it up. The defence looks all over the place, although I don't particularly blame them because they're not really expecting that to happen, and it's very difficult to get back into shape. So, yeah, 2-2, and the writing, I know it come late, the winner, but the writing was on the wall then, and the heads dropped. I saw some players sort of go, Christ's sake. I think Haaland was one that the camera went zoom straight on Haaland, and he just looked, not again. Surely not again. I think Kovacic was another one that was like looking around like, why is this happening again? So yeah, shocking from Ederson. But Ederson was one of our best players last night, and I know Mark's going to change.
Do you know what frustrates me, right, Steve? If we go back to when we were in the Bernabeu, I think it was 3 years ago when we were 3-1 up, and Grealish went through on goal, and instead of running it to the corner, he went for goal, and I think he either just went wide or it hit the post, and then they countered and scored, right? And afterwards, you're thinking an experienced player would have run that to the corner, right? When Ederson tried to go, whatever he was trying to do with that ball, right? If that would have fell to one of the experienced players, they would have just run the ball to the corner anyway, right? So why didn't he just hold on to it? There was no, it's like, look, did we want to be 4-1 up going to the Bernabeu? Of course. But I think we were all happy with being 2-1 up going to the Bernabeu. There was no need to risk that at all. And look, I'm the same as you, Tone. Steve and I both are. Steve and I have defended Ederson for years. And you're right. Yesterday, Ederson was very good. But he also made 2 mistakes that cost us 2 goals.
Yeah.
And it does, and I hate to say it, but there's this thing, you know, Steve, we've spoke about it a few times. There's certain players that just repeatedly keep having bozo moments.
Especially this season. I've never known a season like it for game management. This Manchester City team over the last 10 years is one thing. If you want to criticise the team, you cannot criticise the game management of Manchester City. Because we've seen it before. We've took the sting out of many a game when teams have got a bit excited and we've started to pass it and knock it about. This season, you look at them results. 2 up at Brentford, 2-2. You know what I mean? Every week we mention it. United result was a kick in the teeth. Paris, you know what I mean? So Real Madrid have sensed blood there for me. They thought, you know what? We might have a do here. Let's have a do. And we just folded like a pack of cards. And you're coming out of the ground again. And it felt like someone had just slipped my stomach open. And I had nothing left. And I see the same guys when I walk out. They're coming towards me. I'm walking past. They're all going, fucking hell, Steve. And I'm going, I don't know what to say, lads. You know what I mean? But Martin, what did you think when Ederson did that? I mean, you don't want to upset Tone. He's a big.
I don't mind. I told him last night. I'm sorry, you didn't want to be in the North Stand last night, then, Tone. Because I'm telling you, no one was sat there going, "Oh,
They might as well have served paella in that north stand. There was more Spanish in there than you.
Hey, you piss off, you. You cause enough trouble, you and your banner. Anyway, hey, I'm going to be. I mean, I'll get on to the fans in a minute because I am so pissed last night. I even went mad at a steward last night, by the way. I do apologise to the poor lady. I went mad at last night. This is every effing time we play these. Look at all these Madrid fans in here. It's a disgrace. You go and have a word with Danny Wilson. Sort this crap out. It's proper going on. Anyway, I'm going to be straight with you. Do you know what's annoying me? Everyone's going about this highline and everything else. Our highline didn't cost us last night. Our own stupid errors cost us. Our own stupid errors.
No, according to Twitter, it was the banner's fault. The banner cost us.
That was nothing to do with tactics and highline. That is players making stupid, as LB calls them, bozo moments.
But why are they doing these? But what is it? Fitness? Are they switching off? Because this can't even happen.
And I know you're going to say about Ederson.
Bye, Tone.
Ederson that much, he's gone. I was about to say.
Well, shall we just quickly until Tone? Oh, he's back. Well, now we'll do him afterwards. You two carry on your rant, and then we'll do the super chats.
I don't know what happened there.
No, what it is to me is, listen, the thing.
Switch them back. That's do me head in that.
The thing that annoyed me was Ederson, like you said, Haaland, everyone just calm down. He was being told to calm down. All he's got to do, launch the ball to Haaland. I don't care. You do some stupid scissor kick that I don't even know what it was about. Straight to Bellingham. I mean, someone said last night his passing was amazing. It was. Jude Bellingham thought, by the way, he was crap. How he even got
it's awful
out of the match,
yeah,
I don't know. By the way,
I said probably in about my mate I live with about 60th minute came out and said, "How's Bellingham been?" I said, "Hardly seen him." I said,
"How he didn't get booked last night?" But I know Steve said,
"Yeah." There was a moment, but I said, "I said no doubt he'll get the winning goal."
But he's not getting booked. No. I've never seen a sub run round in his bloody tracksuit coat and everything, literally doing a lap of honour. And the referee went, "No, you're all right, carry on." Like, fuck him. But that was me being salty at the end.
Oh, you're still angry, aren't you? Fucking
I can tell you what, you have to clap for it at me last night because I'm annoyed.
I heard it was you that got your hair cut, to be fair, but
yeah, they look like it. If we get smacked by a team, I'm all for it. Listen, we get beat, I'm for it. But it is February and we're still Father Christmas giving out presents to everyone. Yeah. Arsenal 5-1, same bozo stuff. Brighton, but it's a game after game after game.
But why? Why are these bozo moments happening?
That is what you've just said there. Why is what I said. How many times this season have they gone back in the dressing room after the game, sat there amongst themselves and said, "What the fuck are we doing there, lads?" Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they must be saying that every week, but who's taking responsibility for it?
Ruben Diaz said about 10, 11 days ago in an interview, he was like, "Yeah, we know we keep making mistakes. We're correcting it."
So all the time, Tom, but I was telling me they're playing like under 15s. Stop doing it then. Stop doing it then. Well, I don't want to hear this anymore. Do it on the pitch. Stop giving me this.
Pep said last night something along the lines of, yeah, we keep making mistakes. It's like, we know, Pep. We're watching the game. We're seeing these bloody errors. I think there's a mix of things, but I think part of it is they just haven't got that fire. They haven't got that. They're not switched on.
Tom, you spent 200 million in literally 2 weeks ago and bench them all. Why?
This is the angriest I've ever seen you, Martin. I've got to say.
I lost it last night. I did.
I can tell.
You need to lay off that paella in the north, don't you? It's going right there.
That banner won't be right up last night.
We're all right in the south, man. We got chicken salty pies, mate. We're all right in Ireland.
I've got one of them. Bit of tomato sauce on.
Tomato sauce on a balti pie?
Yeah. Right, so take him off the stream. End the stream.
Do you know what I mean? See you later.
Yeah.
What is going on?
He's gone.
Can't have tomato sauce and baldy pies. It's thin.
Hold on. Steve has a go at me if I have tomatoes. If I have red sauce on anything, Steve's on me, right?
Yeah.
You're putting it on curry. You're putting it on a baldy pie. What is going on?
Bloody hell.
Let's just do wild things in that North Stand.
Hold on. You refer to it as a North Stand. We refer to it as a family stand.
Yeah, because the North Stand mostly a family stand. I know what you're doing.
Should we do, while we've got this little gap just before we explain the last goal, should we just do some super chats?
Yeah.
Get them out of the way.
So the first one is from Dr. Footy, PhD in hateology. Lewis Kovacic, uncomfortable conversations, lads.
We're going to get him in that conversation in a minute.
We'll do in a minute. Appreciated. Next one from Sumo Dog. Nico should have come on and Stones at right back.
I don't think he was fit, was he? He was clearly not.
One assumes Nico wasn't able to come on because there's no reason to not bring him on in the 84th minute. So one assumes he's not physically able to. Yeah.
It's a bit like when Stones was on the bench the other week, and I think it was against PSG, wasn't it? When Stones was on the bench, Diaz came on, and we brought on, I think, Rico Lewis. So it's kind of the same thing, isn't it? He clearly wasn't fit. Next one, this will probably be your favourite one. Sir Alan, Pep Mancini, saying it all changed when Ake went off and Stingers went into the defence. The whole pub moaned. Then Lewis came on. Yeah.
I just be thankful super chats you.
To be honest, I think it was definitely Ake coming on, but I think it was less actually about the defence and actually more about the midfield because Ake going off meant that Stones went back into defence, and I think that he was having an unbelievable game in and out of possession in midfield. So I think that for me was the biggest issue.
Yeah, I think that was something that we've seen Stones invert a lot, and we've seen Stones invert very, very well and moving into midfield. But seeing Stones actually just doing the midfield role and how well he did it.
It was ridiculously impressive.
It's ridiculously impressive.
The last time we saw it was against Aston Villa last season when it went horrendously wrong. He's improved massively. So massive credit.
I remember him doing it home to Norwich and we lost 3-2, and he played that role.
Yeah,
that was one of the first. I think it's the first time he did it, and he was terrible, but he's brilliant last night.
Massively improved.
Another one from Alan saying cover KDB and Gundo must be let go in the summer. The legs have gone. Are we all agreed on those?
Gundo did a lot wrong. He didn't come on till the 84th minute.
No.
If we tell me Gundo can't do 6 minutes, then we have got a problem.
But I think I would imagine the Gundo thing isn't even off the back of yesterday. I think it's probably off the back of the whole season.
I think that it's sad. Again, I know it doesn't matter because De Bruyne went off when we were 2-1 up, so I know it's largely irrelevant. But the game, it was probably one of the worst games I did see from Kevin. The game, again, from my perspective, the game was a lot more high intensity than I thought it was going to be. And like De Bruyne, just like I don't think he could physically, he couldn't even like put a good pass together. So the game just passed him by, sadly.
Do you know, Nobbin, something that I was thinking yesterday was, if you imagine, I know last season we lost on penalties, but if you look at last season against Madrid and you look at the season before against Madrid, we were physically far better than them. They were knackered both games, and we had more energy in both of them. It's mad how one season and it's just completely switched 360.
Yeah, I think that obviously the Rodri injury is a massive thing, but even like Nico not being available, I think that was a massive dagger.
You know what I thought yesterday near the end, right? It came in my head. When I was watching us in the last 5 or 10 minutes, it reminded me of Masters football. You know, Masters football, when you got like Waddle and Des Walker playing and they're walking and they're just passing, and just like that's how I looked at us, and I thought, and it broke me a little bit when I looked, and I thought, you know what, we're going to have some uncomfortable conversations in the summer, because there's a few of these lads who are heroes to us, and we're going to have to put our pride to one side and just let them go, because Real Madrid, like that's just said a couple of years ago, we bopped them off the park, they couldn't touch us, and then last year again they were dug deep, and we should have won the game. This year, they've got a lot more energy about them. I know they've got Mbappe, etc., etc. But even Jude Bellingham for that last goal, when John Stones won't get in him. Jude
Can I
wanted
ask
it
you a
more.
question just on that? And I've been thinking about this for 2 or 3 days. You can probably tell I'm quite heated. I'm quite peeved.
Didn't
Happy
notice.
Flappers, rest in peace for me now. No, in all seriousness, because all I've heard is a list of 8 or 9, like you just said, Steve. Everyone's going to go. With the Club World Cup coming up, do we really think we're going to do 8 or 9 out and 6 or 7 in? Do we see that actually happening?
Well, I think yesterday, a prime example is that when we're listing, there's players that I think have to go, right? And then there's players that maybe we want to go, right? And Grealish is a really good example because I think up until the last 2 games, we all would have been saying 100% Grealish has to go, right? But if I'm looking at Grealish's age, I'm looking at Grealish's input in the last 2 games, right? Grealish is one that I'd actually say, do you know what? Grealish doesn't have to go. It might not be Grealish's time yet. De Bruyne, it's so obvious. And Steve, you and I put out our preferred 11s, right, before the game. And everyone was going, because neither of us put De Bruyne in. And everyone was saying, how are you leaving De Bruyne out? You can't leave De Bruyne out. De Bruyne has to start against Madrid. But have you been watching Kevin De Bruyne this season, right? Because if you have, why should he start? And I think yesterday was a prime example of it. Do you know what? I'm pretty certain their second goal might have came off the back of a De Bruyne attack that maybe you should have done better on. And there were several times where De Bruyne had the ball in areas where we're used to seeing De Bruyne wrap his foot round the ball or find a pass. He's not finding it. He's not wrapping his foot round the ball. And all of a sudden, everything that you know, all the game-changing moments from De Bruyne have been sucked out of him. They're not there anymore. So...
do you think, just to say, De Bruyne got tackled pretty hard and his ankle sort of twitched a bit, didn't it, down the right-hand side in the first half? I wonder if that sort of thing is in his head now. Whenever he gets anything, and he's had a knock, and I thought he was the worst player on the pitch, sad to say, last night.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if things like that are playing on his mind.
Would you keep him on 400 grand a week?
No, absolutely not.
No, that's the key. It's the money, isn't it, as well? And how much, ultimately, you've got to remember that money, that's potentially someone else's, well, that's probably potentially another 3 players' wages.
Yeah, you're not getting Ederson Musiala while KDB.
No. But we'll get into that in a minute, Martin, the getting Ederson Musiala. We've got a few more super chats. Steve, your good friend Zane must have found his parents' credit card saying, Steve, Arsenal cooked you and PSG. Watch Arsenal win the Champions League. Real Madrid, no problem.
Listen, Zane must be getting skint now because he used to send like £20 super chats. He's now sending $4.99. So listen, go back to work, go and do some overtime and come back with them 20 quidders, man.
Well, actually, and Zane, come back with 20 quid and tell us how a front 3 of Jesus, Ethan, and Trossard is going to win the Champions League. Because Jesus, Saka, Havertz, and Martinelli are all out for pretty much the rest of the season. So you're telling me...
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Havertz is out all season.
Yeah,
I've seen some
They'll be happy with that, I think. Some of their fans will be happy with
some are happy with it. Some are like, yeah. So I don't know if it's a good or a bad.
Alan with another one saying, too many of our players can't last 90 minutes. I think that's a valid point, to be fair.
It's not the first time you've heard that.
Benno MCFC saying, M2 searches are heavy. Unzip your coat, searching hat, scarves, etc. Remove your keys, wallet, etc. But some geezer gets in there with clippers.
And the Real Madrid shirt. And the Real Madrid shirt.
Yeah. Look, I've said on this a few times, one of the most frustrating things is how the club seems to allow, ultimately, people that we know are there to try and mock us and make us look stupid. And somehow they end up getting in. How someone's gotten in there with clippers, I do not know.
I kid you not. I felt like I was in the away end last night.
And the away end, by the way, was empty. There was 2,000.
The away end was empty.
That was why.
And finally, one from Glorious MCFC. At this point, I can't celebrate goals anymore. You know what? That wait, by the way, that was. Do you know what? Actually, that's a valid point. I don't know. You know our first goal, the 4-minute wait.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
that
brilliant.
Can
What
I
the-
ask?
To be honest, we celebrated it like mad. We did,
Yeah.
but that 4-minute wait, nerd, it is
Well,
mad.
Do you know what? Someone made a valid point. I know we've seen John Stones get injured because the offside flag didn't go up. And so he ran onto a ball and got pulled up. Yesterday, the commentary team were actually saying that potentially the Akanji injury might have been off the back of the fact that he was stood round for 5 minutes. But I don't
never
know.
know.
He did that, didn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Mbappe who went through on goal?
Oh, it happened twice yesterday. It happened twice yesterday, yeah.
Because we were all like, sure, that's offside. And then he missed.
Yeah, it's obvious. It was obviously offside.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, actually? Because at the end of the 4 minutes, they had this super duper computer thing that straight away said, oh, no, he's on. It was his arm that was off, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Why, if that's available, am I being stupid? Why are they not using this thing? If that's told them straight away, why are these idiots still sat around a computer trying to work different angles?
I think it was something to do with like, because there were two actions, weren't there? I think it was the second action of is Haaland behind the play before it happens. I think that's what it was, because they were both technically in offside positions, but if the ball's played backwards, then it's irrelevant. I think it was something to do with that, something like that.
But we had no idea. That was what was annoying for us at the ground. We had no idea. And like, I've got to say, that first goal last night, we've not celebrated a goal like that in a long time. There was an eruption of emotion when that first goal goes in from Ireland. I was kissing guys behind me. We were all going for it. and then we're literally like just 4 minutes going, what's going on? And nobody was, they normally tell you what it is, but there was nothing. Yeah. And at one point, the Real Madrid guys were kicking the ball back to Courtois thinking it was going to be a goal kick or a free kick.
People, if you haven't smashed your like button, here's a reason to. Everton are 2-1 up. That doesn't matter. Do you know what? Even if there are any Arsenal fans in here, here's a reason for you to smash the like button as well. If you're a City fan,
might be offside. Someone say he might be offside.
Yeah, he's offside.
Oh, fuck's sake! All right,
but we
fans, get back in your box. Stay humble.
Moving it on to that last goal. We spoke about it briefly. Nobbins. People are blaming Kovacic for the way he passed it back. People are playing Rico for not coming and meeting it. Listen, we don't care who did it. It happened. We've gone from winning 2-1 to 3-2. We've gone away from taking the 2-1 lead to the Bernabeu to now being behind. And like you say, it's so frustrating as City fans to just see these individual errors. If Vinicius Junior snatches it, roasts to fullback, rounds Ederson, puts it in the net, you'd clapping and thinking, you know what, fucking fair play. But when it's done like that, it's happened to us so many times this season. It's hard to take Nobbins, isn't it? That.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, it's becoming a recurring occurrence, and it's not really a surprise that it's happened again, especially against like Real Madrid, who often score late against us. And of course, there are like individual errors. Yes, that's the thing. But like I think we're asking before, why does it keep happening? I don't fully know why, but one potential explanation, and it's obviously like an amalgamation of things. But I think that if you have a team and a squad which we've touched on before is physically exhausted and can't put in the physical shift that we'd like them to do, they are therefore having to be more mentally engaged in terms of like their defensive actions. And because they are now mentally fatigued, and because we know this side are, sadly, over the past few weeks have illustrated they are mentally weak as well, in terms of like they know as soon as a goal goes in that they're liable to concede another. I think you've got all those things adding up and all compounding, and it's like this domino effect of shite, and it just ultimately leads to consistent capitulations against Feyenoord, against PSG, against Man United, against Arsenal, against now Real Madrid. It can't just be a coincidence, and it can't just be random fluke individuals, because it's if it was Kyle Walker every single time making these errors, you'd go, right, clearly the common denominator is Kyle Walker. But Walker played no part in the Feyenoord capitulation. He played, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think he played any part in the PSG capitulation. He obviously didn't play any part in it yesterday. It's different players every single time. So it's got to be beyond just purely isolated bozo moments or whatever we want to say. Of course, that might be a part of it, but there's got to be a better explanation for that for me. And again, I do think a lot of it stems from physical exhaustion and fatigue of an aging squad, which simply can't do it anymore, leading into mental fatigue and mental fragility, leading to these compounding errors where our players know that they're playing with nerves, clearly. Like, there's no need for Kovacic to do that. That's a nervous ball back to Rico. Like, Rico himself, it's a tentative. He's clearly in two minds. Do I go? Do I not? And then by the time he's made a decision, it's too late. Same with Ederson. He's nervous. He goes for it too quickly, and then all of a sudden we've lost the game. So it's sadly, I would love it. I would love to be able to just scapegoat one player and go, this is the one problem with the club. Get him out, and everything's going to be lovely. Kyle Walker's literally at another club, and we're still just as liable in an individual bozo situation.
You know what?
It's frustrating.
I think you made a comment, and I think Metal, I think this guy as well has made it, that maybe Kovacic expected Rico to be a bit deeper out. But saying that, and maybe that's valid, but he's right that, Rico is up against Vinicius in the last minutes of the Champions League. Should he really be going that far up the pitch? Or actually, is that why Rico's staying a bit back?
So just before Kovacic plays that ball, Vinicius makes a run, and Kovacic and Rico's backpedaling. So he's already, is concerned with Vinicius. He's already got that in his mind. All of a sudden, the senior midfielder is like playing him a horror ball. So he's already backpedaling. His physical orientation isn't quite right. Yeah. So it's a thing, sadly.
Yeah, valid.
So we go to Madrid next week. 3-2 down. Mission impossible, but it's half time in the tie. It is half time. There's no away goals or anything, so we're 1-0 down. Somebody said that to me before. We're 1-0 down. We can turn it around. I mean, City of old could have turned it around. I'm hoping. I'm going there. It's the belief that kills you. Surely to God, we've got to just go and have a go. Get Nico in there. Get Doku on the pitch. Get Savinho on the pitch, and let's just have a go. I don't care if we get 4-0, because if there's a chance of winning 2-0 or getting beat 4-0, I'll take the risk. Do you know what I mean? We're going out there again, and what do you think? Do you think he's going to go for it? We've got Newcastle at weekend. We've not even spoke about, and we've got Liverpool the week after. So
that's what I wanted to say. We've got three games in 8 days. Liverpool, Newcastle at home, Real Madrid away, and then Liverpool at home. Right?
Liverpool scored.
So, typical. So, are we all in agreement? And this is kind of going off not only this season, but this is going off of our track record as well. Is it fair to say that Newcastle at home and Liverpool at home are winnable games?
If we played to some sort of level like we did last night in the first half, where we look comfortable and a bit like the old City, then we're going to give both of them a game. I think we can beat Newcastle, 100%. Right. Liverpool is a different.
But the same, if we go on past, we've beat Liverpool at the Etihad many times, right? Do we think the Bernabeu, and I know every game is winnable, but do we think the second leg against Real Madrid is winnable enough to risk potentially? Because, we can't play our best 11 against all three teams, can we?
Well,
this is where the new signings come in, Naps.
He's got a squad right now. Take out Rodri and Bob. He's got 27 players. I mean, that's an enormous amount of players he's got. That includes O'Reilly and so on. But let's say 24 top players. So he can switch this around for sure. But Real Madrid's just following what Steve was saying. I think we should be bloody going for it. Why not now? Put Doku on, get Marmouche on, get Nico in the middle, get some legs. No Gundo, no De Bruyne. Bernardo, don't know, but it may be in the middle. Stop pissing about, get the team out, and get on with it. And
are you talking against Newcastle?
Real Madrid.
Why more so Real Madrid?
I think we can alternate things a little and beat Newcastle. If we play like we did against Chelsea, we'll beat Newcastle.
Against Newcastle's midfield?
But here's one thing, so we know this because we've been down this road, and maybe I'm clutching at a lot of straws here. Newcastle are in the cup final now. they haven't got the squad depth.
Yeah, fair
And
point.
you know how players get? Do they put that extra 20% in a tackle and maybe come out injured, and then they're out the cup final? And you get, because Joe Linton he's either injured or he'll just come back from injury. He's not going to.
Did you see them against Arsenal without Joe Linton?
Yeah.
That midfield will. I'm sorry, but the two of them, right? Just two of them, they'll outrun our whole midfield.
But did you see him against Fulham and West Ham?
Yeah,
so
fair.
Ways. It depends. Newcastle are one of them teams where they can be excellent on the day, or they are literally great or not so great.
So I guess who are you starting? Because I think we'd all agree you can't start Stones in all three games, right? It's just Stones starting in all three games. I don't think we've ever seen that happen for probably 3 seasons now. Which two are you starting them in?
I'm starting Victor Hayes and Kushinov against Newcastle.
Oh, that's a call. I don't know about that. I wouldn't start.
Why buy him then? Why we bought them?
Well, we haven't bought them for just now, have we? Especially Hayes. We bought him for the future. They've been quite clear.
We are buying these players because we need them now. We've got injuries, and you can't say that and then not use them.
Yeah, but this is Newcastle. This isn't Leyton Orient.
But this is my point with that. When do we start any of the new boys? Because
are we assuming Akanji's injured and Ake's injured?
I hope is
Ake injured though?
Is Ake an injury as well?
I thought he just went off because he hadn't played a minute since his injury. So I'm assuming that was just because he couldn't play anymore. I didn't think he was actually injured.
Did they both get injured?
We need to know whether Kuzinov's a centre back or he's going to play right back, because I'd like to see Kuzinov. I'd like to see Kuzinov with Ruben Diaz, because I feel like Ruben Diaz would talk to him better when he played him with Akanji. We all know that you watch Diaz and Akanji. Diaz is constantly pulling him into position all the time. That's what Ruben does. Nico's got to start. You know what I mean? He had a baptism of fire at Leyton Orient, got injured. He's got to start. We've got to see some sort of. He's got to be working on some sort of shape with this guy in the team. I think we beat Newcastle. I do. I think we beat Newcastle. Newcastle. But I think it's all about. I think our top priority this season now is top 4. It's got to be top 4. I know we want trophies and that, but financially for the club, they're going to be aiming for top 4. Newcastle are on our arse in the league, and we're playing Liverpool, etc., Villa, Spurs. We're going in a tough period, so it is what it is. But I feel like Reyes or Hayes, however they pronounce it, I thought he did all right. He looked very composed on the ball, but I don't know if he's going to blood him in the Premier League just yet. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking. No. I'll say on the midfield as well, Martin. You say not starting the new players. I would start 3 of them against Newcastle, and I'd arguably start at least 2 of them against Real Madrid. Mamouche and Nico Gonzalez, in my view, should be playing all 3 of them games if they're fit. I don't care 3 games in 8 days.
No, I hear it on those 2. I
understood Madrid. No, I did understand the Madrid of not starting anyone, because it's Real Madrid, and he's probably thinking, no, I need tried and trusted on that. And I know that might be wrong, it might be right. But in the Premier League, I do think we should, because I know people are saying Kushinov is young, but he brought Rico Lewis on at half-time against Real Madrid last night. And how old's Rico? So what 20. We're saying is...
Kuzinov's the same age. No, Kuzinov's the same age. Yeah.
It's maybe it's a trust thing now, then.
I want to see, and the thing is as well with whether Kuzinov is a right back or centre back. Again, we played 4 centre backs yesterday, right? So
yeah.
I do. Sorry, just there was something that said earlier when Martin, you said about getting Wirtz or Musiala in the summer, right? This is where I am. That I do feel that at the moment, even going into yesterday's game, it was really getting under my skin. That I saw people saying, we bought Nico Gonzalez for the Champions League. No, we didn't. We bought him for the future, right? And everything yesterday just seemed to be about, yesterday was the centre of everything, and everything matters. And even now, I feel like, again, we're doing it when we haven't top four football is so far from a guarantee to us at the moment, right? And Newcastle is not just another Premier League game, it's a 6-pointer, right? Because they're who we're up against for Champions League football. If we want Musiala, and right now, Martin, you remember back in December, I think it was me, you and LB, and I was saying to you both, do you know what? I wouldn't be mad if we went out the Champions League this season so that we can focus on the Premier League and get in top four, because I don't think we have what it takes to win the Champions League this season. I worry that we're going to still go into this Madrid game, putting it all against that and risk not getting top four. And this comment here is spot on. We need that. It's not only the Champions League money, but it's also, if we don't have Champions League football to play next season, then we can wave goodbye getting Musiala or Wirtz.
Yeah,
I think you can get away with that for the year. I think you can get away with that.
No, not with the bro. Look at their age. They're not looking to come and not play in the Champions League for a year, especially the year before the World Cup.
It
depends what the plan is. Because I heard didn't he sign a new deal? His release clause is 2026. I don't know. That was just from a Christian Falk had put. I understand people say about the money. Don't forget, we have got the Club World Cup where we're going to make a shit ton of money.
It's not even the money. It's more for me that I don't believe that Musiala or Wirtz, the season before the World Cup, would risk not playing Champions League.
That's fair enough. That is fair enough. Saying that, Paul Pogba rocked into United when they were like 5th, 6th.
Paul Pogba was on a free. Paul Pogba was lurking about on a free, looking for a club.
All right. I think we get away with it for 1 year. And by the way, I'm not saying I want this to happen. I think we would. Liverpool, Chelsea, United have all had to go out a year. I'm not saying I want that to happen. I'm not saying it's a good thing. Of course, it should be top four. But
it's this one.
I don't think it's probably.
So listen, people, we're an hour in. We're going to wrap it up. We could have gone all night because
we could.
Got Newcastle, Liverpool, the next leg. I'm not going to put anyone on the spot and say, do you think we get through or not? I'd rather just not do that. I'd rather just keep the faith, the positive energy rolling, and hopefully, we're going to talk next week after Newcastle, obviously, but I'm looking forward to the game weekend. Please hit the like button, people. Please subscribe to everybody in this panel. You know what I mean? We're bringing you this show weekly. It's a great show. You know what I mean? No shouting, no arguing. We're trying to get through it. We're talking tactics. We've got our own opinions. We've got the chat on lockdown, a nice group in here every week. And we've got to thank all you guys for the support, because the channel has received some great support. It's received great support. If it wasn't for these guys that are giving up their time to come onto this channel, then it'd just be me and Dax boring you every week, and we'd have 300 subscribers. But hey ho. Listen, people, hit the likes. Have a great night. Keep the faith. Come on, City. See you at weekend. Come on, the Blues.